Hi, Government Investigators. Mike Evans again with our support program for the COVID-19 lockdown in New South Wales for our students studying Diploma of Government Investigation, Diploma of Government Fraud Control, Advanced Diploma of Government Investigation, Fraud Control and Workplace Inspection. Today we're going to look at a substantial investigation technique called the time and event line. Now, as government investigators, we use time and event lines quite extensively. The police use time and event lines. Here's one they use in a murder of Jill Maher in Melbourne. That's an indication of the time and event line for things that happened there. Here's another one where a husband killed his wife in Melbourne. There's some of the time and event lines that they established during the course of that investigation. And this one's a murder in Victoria as well. So there's just some examples of time and event lines. And in the presentation that you'll be directed to at the end of this program, you'll see some specific ones. Now, nothing can happen in our reality without a day, date, time, and location attached to it. So if someone's going to lie to you, there's going to be something missing in relation to location, date, or time, or whatever that might possibly be. So keep that in mind. But in government investigations, we use time and event lines for some, we use the application of those for some certain things. You'll see in the video I'm about to play you how the Child Support Agency used it to solve issues over who had children at what times, which was one of their major problems. And they took the presentation that you'll receive the link to on time and event lines, and they applied that to their work, because the video that the link is to has nothing to do with what you do in government investigation. It's a process and it shows you how the process works. But the bright people at the Child Support Agency applied it to their work and they solved a major problem there. So keep in mind, people, nothing can happen without a day, date, time and place. And only one person skips around that, and she's fictional and not real. So keep that in mind. You've got an investigation that happened somewhere, it happened at a time, it happened at a location, and it happened on a date. So that's one of the things that is a really important method of investigation, the time and event line, and you will use them extensively when you get a ministerial. Because you're a government department manager, you are going to receive ministerials. Now, those of you who know what it is, you're laughing right now, but those of you who don't, here's the explanation. CEO of the Insurance Council of Australia, Andrew Hall, told the House of Representatives Standing Committee. CEO of the Insurance Council. That's the wrong one. Sorry, my apologies. We're live and I've stuffed it up again. Let's go. Hi, Mike Evans again from the Australian Security Academy with the 5th episode in our series of lockdown support for those students at the Australian Security Academy who are studying the management level qualifications, Diploma of Fraud Control, Diploma of Government Investigation, Advanced Diploma of Government Fraud Control, Workplace Inspection and Investigation. Today I'm looking at time and event lines. Now, in time and event lines, we use these to get a one-page glimpse of what happened in a certain circumstance. So it might be a fraud, it might be a theft, it could be someone fiddling with their timesheets, it could be a major gang fraud against a Commonwealth government department by multiple persons. So we use the time and event lines to do such a thing. An interesting one when we taught this at the Child Support Agency some years ago was they used time and event lines there after we did that program and presentation to establish which parent had the children for how long, because there were always consistent claims that I have the children longer than you do. So by creating time and event lines in relation to that, they could get a one-page view of which parent had which child and when. The other use of time and event lines is when we get a ministerial as a government manager in our department. Now, some of you won't know what a ministerial is, and those of you that do are smiling right now. So we're going to go through now precisely what a ministerial is. So today we've invited Pat Flynn in to tell us what a ministerial is. Welcome along, Pat. How are you?
G'day, how you going? Yeah, good.
Very well, thanks, mate. What is it all about ministerial, please?
Okay, ministerials relate to complaints. Now, I'll just do a little bit of a general overview of complaints. Now, each public sector, all three levels of government, is accountable for the services they provide and the conduct of their staff within the agency. At Commonwealth level, the agency staff must follow the Australian Public Service Code of Conduct, the APS Code of Conduct. Each agency is able to receive and consider complaints about the behaviour and conduct of their staff in their dealings with members of the public, the services they provide and are responsible for, and also issues relating to procurement procedures that are non-compliant with legislation. There's actually a piece of legislation called the Government Procurement Judicial Review Act 2018. So the procurement processes that government agencies use is fairly strictly controlled. Now, each public sector agency has a complaint handling policy and usually also has dedicated complaint handling officers or staff within the agency. Information about the complaint handling policy or the process is generally available on the agency's website. If it's not on the agency website, it can be obtained by contacting the agency directly. Now, complaints can and most are often resolved by contacting the area of the agency with which it relates to. In circumstances where concerns cannot be resolved in the first instance by that area, the complaint can then be escalated to a more senior level within the agency. Now, sometimes when complaints are escalated, they might be dealt with by the Commonwealth or state or territory ombudsman, which is an independent and impartial watchdog. Now, the Ombudsman may in turn refer complaints to certain other agencies, such as the Privacy Commissioner, a Judicial Commission or a law enforcement agency, Australian Crime Commission, those sort of places, if they're better suited to investigate the complaint, depending on what it is. Now, when we come down to the ministerial issue, in addition to these processes, members of the public are quite free and they may contact a member of parliament or a minister who has the portfolio responsible for the agency that they want to make a complaint about in order to make that complaint. Now, when these complaints are received, and there's usually a complaint form that you fill out on the website, and they say that you can escalate things if you want to. These types of complaints are generally referred to as ministerial, referred to the Ministerial Support Division of the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet. Now, these complaints are investigated and are what are termed ministerial complaints. So when you hear the term ministerial, it relates to ministerial complaints that have gone directly to the Parliament or the Prime Minister and Cabinet. That's about a good overview of it, I think.
Okay, so it is going to be really important that the reply to that ministerial is 100% accurate, 100% detailed, and addresses every concern within it.
Yes. Now, in the government investigation sort of environment, when you get these ministerial complaints, there is some history or some background to it leading up to the point where it becomes a ministerial complaint. Now, sometimes ministerial complaints can occur where the minister themselves takes it upon themselves to inquire or investigate into something that they are interested in. Now, where you've got background or where you've got any history in relation to the escalation of that complaint, your record keeping and your note taking, file notes, contemporaneous notes, all of those record keeping processes are really important, because that's what you're going to fall back on in order to answer the questions that are raised in the ministerial complaints and are raised with all the issues that are identified.
Thanks for coming in today, Pat. I really appreciate your support.
Cool. Thank you.
locate the presentation, which runs for 49 minutes on time and event lines, go to Conduct an Investigation on your Moodle menu, scroll down to the end of topic 3 and you'll find it down there and you can watch that presentation. It has nothing to do with what you'll investigate as a government investigator, but keep this in mind. The Child Support Agency turned it into something that was very valuable for them by applying the technique in their workplace. Good work, investigators. I'm Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy.